Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a Vessels of Wrath video. Yeah, probably should look at the KHORNE'S detachments again now that some codexes have come out and things have changed. So today we're looking at Vessels of Wrath. And for those of you that forgot what this one does, the detachment rule is Wrath of Khorne. At the start of the battle round, after activating Blessings of Khorne, you can select one or more models from your army from those listed below, including models that are embarked within transports, a World Eater's character that isn't an epic hero, 8-bound champion, exalted 8-bound champion, Khorne Berserker's champion, World Eater's Terminator champion. You could select the same type of model multiple times, up to the size and da 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 da. We're looking at probably 3 models, Strike Force, right? Until the end of the battle round, each of those models has the Vessel of Wrath keyword. We recommend marking such models with a suitable token, then select one Blessing of Khorne that is not active for your army. Until the end of the battle round, that Blessing of Khorne is active for Vessel of Wrath units from your army in addition to any others that are active for your army. So, um, you no longer get like Feel No Pain. Uh, that's probably the notable one that I would think is like gone. Advancing Charge out of here too. But you still have the access to making all of your shit sustain and lethal pretty much all the time. Pile and consolidate, fight on death, devastating wounds, right? It eliminates some of the clunkiness of hoping for a good roll to get your army going. I gotta admit, decapitating strikes is a lot. Not a lot. It's not as good as I thought it was at first. I heard you get death wounds, but I didn't really hear too many people talk about that as into infantry. That's still fine, and with some things like Death Guard around, that probably might be handy. Uh, Dark Angels players are starting to make strides to figuring out how to actually use Wrath of the Rock, so maybe that too, right? It might come in handy, but Sustain Lethal is just cool to have. Now, I'm not going to go through all of this all over again. I just want to make a quick video about some things that might be pretty interesting for things coming up. Let's start with one of the enhancements. Gateways to Glory for 10 points. World Eater's Demon Prince or Mounted Model. Each time the bearer makes an attack, a normal advance or charge move, excuse me, not an attack, it can move horizontally through models and terrain features. When doing so, it can move within engagement range of such models, but cannot end a normal or advanced move within engagement range of them. Why is this interesting? Well, for 10 points, you get a Demon Prince that can go through walls at any point of the game. And why is that interesting? Well, now the Demon Prince not only has Lone Up when around infantry, 3 inches with Lord of Murder, you also have Devastating Assault. Each time this model makes a charge move until the end of the turn, its melee weapons have devastating wounds. So that could be 16 attack, 611, devastating versus infantry, sustained devastating, sustained lethal on a sweep, but on the strike it could be 8 attacks and on 2s, 8, 2, 3, sustained lethal, devastating. Whatever combination you get around there, that's pretty cool. But also, you finally have CP reduction with the Demon Prince of Khorne. Direct the Slaughter. Once per battle round, one model from your army with this ability can use it when a friendly World Eater's unit within 12 inches of this model is targeted with a strat. If it does, reduce the cost by 1. Now, um, even better, just going again to something that's pretty cool now. Brazen Contempt. Your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. One World Eater's unit, just unit, that was selected until the end of the phase. Each time an attack targets your unit, if the character's strength characteristic is greater than the toughness, -1 to wound, or if they're a Vessel of Wrath, just straight up -1 to wound. And well, your Demon Prince could become a Vessel of Wrath. That's just one, but 3 models per turn you could choose, or 3 units per turn essentially, right? You could choose to have just straight up -1 to wound. So you're missing out on Feel No Pains, but now you have essentially free -1 to wound, right? With the Demon Prince of Khorne. So that doesn't sound too bad, and go through walls. And go through walls and then deliver devastating on those attacks, possibly with sustain that you were able to choose. So, that's a pretty decent power up. 210 points worth, I would think, is worth it. Also, Slaughterbound is a new character that I hear the mixed reactions, and I understand them because it's like so and so. Not saying that this one is an auto include as much as the Demon Prince of Khorne, but we should talk about him because is a character, then will be able to be attached to things and do all the things. So, Slaughterbound, 10 inches of movement, T6, 3 up save, 5 up invo, and 6 wound, 6 of leadership, 1 OC. Lord of the 8 bound, if you attach it to one of the 8 bound units, gets deep strike and scout 6 inches, has lacerator and demonic claw. Melee, 6 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 8, AP 2, damage 2. Pretty decent. Rage Eternal, while the smaller is leading the unit. In your command phase, you can return one destroyed bodyguard model to that unit. So that's good to keep your unit just a little bit more in the game, especially if. Now, I'm not saying you do this, again, but if you do attach 3 Slaughter Bound to 3 8 bound, exalted 8 bound units, whatever, and they're for free -1 to wound, they might be around a little bit longer, and then you just pop back another bodyguard to keep the things going. So that's pretty interesting. Also has Deadly Demise T3, which is kind of funny. Has Avenger's Crown. You could put Avenger's Crown. That way, World Eater's model only if the bearer is destroyed by a melee attack. If it is not fought this phase, roll 1d6 on a 2-up. Do not remove from play. Destroyed model can fight on death. So you could make a fight on death, uh, go down with the ship, possibly Deadly Demise situation happen. Also, probably a good time to talk about Arch Slaughterer for 25 points. World Heater's model only improve the AP characteristic of melee weapons equipped by the bearer by 1, and when they are the Vessel of Wrath, improve the damage characteristic of those weapons by 1 as well. So, going back to the Demon Prince of Khorne, on a strike, that could be AP 3, damage 4. That's pretty good. That's also more attacks than on the Slaughterbound, but, also could be happening there. Just to make things happen. So, it depends on who or how often you want to make one of your units the Vessel of Wrath. So, Arch Slaughterer, also a decent include. Now, if you put Arch Slaughterer, you would have to put it on a second Demon Prince because Gateways to Glory is first, but that's why I said, come back to it if you want to do that. But Slaughterbound, probably the more likely option out of those to attach to a unit that you're already taking because the champions aren't characters themselves to take enhancements, sadly. But on that note, what are we attaching shit to? Well, the 8 bound, decent, I guess. They have Scout 6. While a friendly World Eater's unit is within 6 inches of this unit, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack that targets a unit that isn't a monster or vehicle, add 1 to the hit. And if that unit that isn't a monster or vehicle is below half strength, plus 1 to the wound as well. Now, this Scout 6 inches is more impactful now that you all have another new unit, Goremongers. You finally have infiltrators to make sure that you can get your scout moves off. That's literally the only thing I really want to talk about Goremongers here. The reactive move is cute. For 85 points for 8 models. It's just to say that now you have a way to make sure that you can definitely move. So, Goremongers don't necessarily get anything in here. I do not suggest making them strength greater than toughness -1 to wound. I guess if they do manage to destroy something on an objective, you can sticky it with gory dedication. But yeah, that's kind of where the train stops on that one. But just out of new changes already, looking pretty decent. Reduce the cost of a stratagem. Excuse me. Slaughterbound. They haven't had good rep, but it's not the worst include now, just so you can put enhancements on shit. 8 bound, okay. And Goremongers, just to let your 8 bound proceed to play the game. Next up, though, I want to talk about how Lord Invocatus is one of the exceptions to the thing, because yes, Lord Invocatus is an epic hero, but attaching to whatever you want to attach to, they have champions within, and those units become the Vessel of Wrath. I almost said Champion of Khorne. Sorry. But yeah, they can still end up with that. So let's talk about Lord Invo for a second. The ranged weapon is a bow pistol, but the melee weapon, Crowd's Bane, devastating wounds, melee, 7 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 6, AP 2, damage 2, or the bladed horn, extra attacks, lance, 4 attacks, hitting on 3, strength 6, AP 1, damage 2. Pretty cute. Fire Raiders just means that if you attach to a unit, they have deep strike and everybody can go through terrain. When making a normal advance or fallback move, they can also move within engagement range of enemy models but can't end there. And but cannot end there, and any Desperate Escape test is automatically passed. Cool. Bloody Stampede is the one that's a little bit more handy for the things coming up in the meta, I guess. Things that you might be looking at. Bloody Stampede, each time this model's unit ends a charge move, select one enemy unit within engagement range of this model. Then roll 1d6 on a 2 through 3. That enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound on a 4 through 5, d3 mortal wounds on a 6, d3 plus 3. Why is that handy? Well, a little bit of a tank shock, some mortals to get some things out of the game a little bit quicker will be nice. And if you attach to Exalted 8 bound, they have chain blades that are anti-monster 3 up, anti-vehicle 3 up. So you're just trying to get wounds on these bigger things that we're looking at coming down the pipeline. 4 attacks hitting on 3, strength 8, AP 3, damage 2. They also have rend and tear so that the monster vehicle more than likely will stay there. Each time an enemy monster vehicle within engagement range of one or more units from your army with this ability falls back, they have to take a Desperate Escape test. Usually wouldn't have to happen, but you know, Desperate Escape test, if you fail it, you're pretty fucked. You don't want to be doing those. So, don't take Desperate Escape tests. You might lose your fucking model. So, yeah, that's cool that Exalted 8 Bound have something. They lost their Feel No Pain, so that's a little bit rough. But again, coming back to Vessels of Wrath, possibly straight up -1 to wound. So that's cool. Then also, coming to Karn, another example of, hey, there's a loophole here that I didn't ever really think about. I guess a lot of the list previously, when I last looked at Vessels seriously, was just like, do you take Angron or 30 Terminators? And that meant you weren't taking Karn. Often. Often enough, I guess. But Karn the Betrayer, legendary killer. While this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, reroll a hit roll of 1 and reroll a wound roll of 1. And coming back to the fact that you get to choose a Blessing of Khorne, that means reroll hit rolls of 1, sustained, lethal, reroll wound rolls of 1, possibly devastating wounds into infantry. This means that you have 21 motherfuckers just beating you over the head with attacks with possibly sustained lethals, rerolling hit rolls of 1 and wound rolls of 1. That's pretty cute, pretty nice. Also have Rage Fueled Invigoration sometimes to make it so that your pile in or consolidate move can be 6 inches to get all of these motherfuckers into combat. And again, Total Carnage. If all things go like pretty fucky, maybe you already have sustained lethal from your Blessings of Khorne roll, and you just rather fight on death, that means 20 motherfuckers have the chance to fight on death with Total Carnage. And again, because there is a Khorne Berserker champion. Whatever fuck. Also have the Betrayer at the end of your charge phase. This one is not a bonus, but just remember this. If this model is leading a unit and they're not within engagement range, by the end of everything, you must take a leadership test for this model. If that test is failed, one bodyguard model in that unit is destroyed. So, you know, just roll a 6 up. You got this. A 6 up on leadership, so you should have it. But, you know, sometimes shit happens. Berserker Frenzy. The first time this model is destroyed at the end of the phase, roll 1d6 on a 2 up. Set this model back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where it was destroyed and now within engagement range of one or more enemy units with 3 wounds remaining. Just nice to have something to keep the party going. And let's talk about those Berserkers, because they have changed. And again, just a reminder, there's the champion. It goes in here. Cool. Blood Surge. The main change, I guess I should say first, is the fact that now they go up to 20 models. 360 points for 20 Khorne Berserkers. Now, again, they do have something in here that's okay, I guess. Aspire to Infamy. Fight phase. 1 Khorne Berserkers. We're not talking Jackals here. From your army that has not been selected to fight this phase and is within 8 inches of one or more friendly World Eaters character models. Thankfully, if you attach Karn, you'll be within that range. Effect: until the end of the phase, improve the strength and AP characteristic of melee weapons equipped by non-character models in your unit by 1. So that means 20 motherfuckers are getting +1 strength, +1 AP into their attacks, and everybody has a chain blade. And for every 5, one can become a Khorne Eviscerator. So we're looking at 5, 2, 1 for attacks. You're looking at a lot of attacks that again could be sustained lethal. I'll keep going that one. So yeah, you should pick some shit up. Also have Blood Surge and your opponent's shooting phase each time an enemy unit has shot. If any models that were destroyed, da 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 da, you can make a blood surge move. We know what blood surge are. Roll to do so, roll 1d6 and add 2 to the roll. Models can then move a number of inches up to the result. Go up there. When doing so, can be within engagement range. Cannot make a blood surge move if you're battle shocked or within engagement range of somebody already. Cool. I also have Icon of Khorne that you can attach. Each time the bearer's unit destroys an enemy unit, you gain 1 bloodshed point. Each time you make a Blessings of Khorne roll. Roll 1 additional d6 for each bloodshed point you have, after which all your bloodshed points are lost. Nice. You could just get more blessings. Uh, I think there's a chance that you might get around there. So, I accidentally skipped ahead a little bit, but the reason that I have a Forge Fiend on screen is because there's a good chance that now you will start taking Forge Fiends. And they have Furious Onslaught. Each time this model makes a ranged attack that targets the closest eligible target within 18 inches, you can reroll the hit roll. That's pretty nice. Ectoplasm Cannon. Now, mind you, it doesn't hit on 3s like other Forge Fiends, but has Blast Rapid Fire 1. So you can take 3 of these bad boys, 3d3 hitting on 4, strength 10, AP 3, damage 3. Again, Rapid Fire 1, meaning that this could be 3 more attacks. And Blast, meaning that, you know how Blast rule works. For every 5 that your opponent has in the targeting unit that you're targeting, that's another roll. So that's a lot, but not to say that you're taking it just to complete a army list. You possibly are, but I do want to point out again, coming back over here to, if you haven't figured it out by now, Brazen Contempt. One World Eater's unit. If somebody tries to fire your Forge Fiend, if the strength is greater than the toughness of 10, or whatever your Forge Fiend is, technically, I guess, versus Death Guard, there's a chance it could get down to 9, or some other things like Great Unclean One. Either way, if the strength is greater than the toughness of your Forge Fiend, -1 to wound. So there's a chance that you are, or your opponent is trying to wound your Forge Fiend on probably 4s, unless they have tried to lift it with like a fucking Storm Surge. Then I guess 3s. But yeah, Forge Fiend, it's good for 150 points. That's pretty nice. And just to say, for the argument of ridiculousness, Khorne Lord of Skulls. It's T13, it's Titanic, has good guns when they're going through all the profiles. We're not going through all the things, but now a super heavy war engine means that it can go through terrain features. That's cute, that's nice, that's actually pretty damn scary. It also has Idol of Blessed Blood at the start of the battle round. If this model is on the battlefield, when you make a Blessings of Khorne roll, roll 1 additional d6. So, if you do want to go the roll of, or the route of just being absurd, a Khorne Lord of Skulls, giving you 1 additional d6. Karn and the Berserkers giving you more blessing rolls and playing Vessels of Wrath, you can have a decent amount of blessings active. Just saying. Or, you know, just to choose from, really. It's more so that you have the ability to choose them because you cap out at 2. But it's better to have more dice than less. So let's go with that. I think you could take a lesson from Sisters on that one. So yeah, just to say, Vessels of Wrath doesn't look that bad. I understand everybody's on Berserker Warband and Khorne Demonkin. I covered Cult of Blood, and I still think once people put time into that, that's going to be pretty fucking scary. And I think I put that over. Ooh, what would I put that over? I don't know. I think I might put it over Vessels. But Goretrack is whatever, and Possessed Slaughter Band is, I don't know. I gotta reread that one because I'm still not seeing why it exists too much. But yeah, Vessels of Wrath seems fine for, you know, what it is, and I think there's some interesting builds. And if anything, you just do the thing that we always do, where you end up taking a detachment just for one stratagem. Taking Vessels of Wrath, getting a bonus Blessing of Khorne, and then getting essentially free, right? Free. -1 to wound. Doesn't sound like too bad of a deal while still playing with World Eater's punchy data sheet. So yeah, I think Vessels might have some play. So if you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.